Simecha practical parenting video for Parsha Shmos. In this Parsha, Moshe and Aharon come before Paro for the first time to ask for that the Jewish people should be allowed to leave Mitzrayim to go worship Hashem. Paro's reaction is not only to say no, he also says, now tichbad ha'avodah, let's increase the workload on these people. We must make them work harder and harder, more today than they did yesterday, because clearly they're lazy. They're paying attention to two people who are coming and telling them there can be a different future. There's a vision for something better. We have to keep them busy. Paro was tapping into a deep reality of the human nature, and that is the only way that we can access our own inner selves, the only way we can envision what our goals are, what we like, what we don't like, what we can envision for a future. The only way we can get to know ourselves and what we really truly want is from a place of quiet and stillness. It can't be from a place of overloaded, overburdened work. And so Paro didn't want the Jewish people paying any attention to what Moshe and Aaron were saying. He didn't want them thinking about what they really want and what their future could potentially hold. And so he said, pile on the work, give them more and more. Let's not give them any downtime, any ability, any serenity to know who they are and what they want. Today we don't have Paro, we don't have his taskmasters, but we do a very good job of keeping ourselves very, very busy. And we do a very good job of keeping ourselves so distracted and overworked that we don't get enough time to access our inner selves and to be clear on who we are and what we want and what our goals and visions are for ourselves, for our families, for our children. So the way to combat this is to make an effort. And I know it's hard, it's so very hard, but it's important to make an effort to set aside some time. It doesn't have to be every day, it doesn't even have to be every week, but let's be aware how important it is for us to set aside time without any distractions, without any external stimuli that are keeping us busy and distracted. No cell phones, no computers, maybe a walk in nature, maybe a journaling session, maybe some coloring, something peaceful, quiet, where your brain gets a chance to just start thinking about whatever it is that comes up, where you can notice what it is you're thinking about, notice your feelings, notice what might be driving you some days. And just like we need it, our children need it. Today's children are more stimulated and have more structured schedules than children at any time in history. And the research and the data is very clear that children need much, much more unstructured time. They need much more time and many more opportunities to just play quietly by themselves, to experience boredom, because when you're bored, that's when the outside world stops stimulating you and you begin to discover your inner world. You begin to discover who you are inside. Our children need more of that. It's not an easy process. Before you get to the emergent energy of, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll go dig a hole to China. You have a kid wandering around saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It's a messy process. It involves having extra cereal containers for cardboard pieces and scissors and markers and paint and glue and clay and all types of creative equipment lying around your house and building blocks and Legos. So it's pretty messy. But it gives our children a chance to discover who they are, to begin to open up and unfold into their own person. And that's our goal. That's the goal of raising children. The goal is to raise individual, independent adults who know who they are, who are comfortable with who they are, who have a vision for themselves, who have goals, who know what they're working for and why they're working towards it. The way towards that is more unstructured time. It's more quiet time. And it's a hard thing to do because when all the ads in every newspaper and magazine tell you how wonderful it is if you would just sign your child up for this program and this sport and this activity, and there's literally no vacation day without some type of programming offered, and all the neighborhood kids are going and they look so happy, and your kids may not, it's still important to give them the downtime. It's still important to think clearly before you sign them up for things. What's the cost? Will they still have quiet time in their lives? Will they still have space to explore, to discover, to become who they are? Because that can't happen from a place of overworked, overscheduled, overburdenedness. It really can only come from stillness, from quietness. We can't have it all the time. Our children can't have it all the time. But they need us to treasure the time, to build it into their weeks. We need ourselves to cherish that time, to build it into our schedules. It's the message that Paro knew. If he could just overwork us, he could keep us there forever. We can get out of our own inner slavery. We can move to redemption, but we need to have peace. We need to have stillness. We need to have a chance to get to know ourselves. Have a wonderful week.